Okay.
So thank you. This is Stacy Jerk, friend of mine, entrepreneur. Thanks again for letting us use your space.
You're welcome.
Now, please enlighten us.
Okay. So I'm just going to kind of talk about a lot of different things, but feel free to steer me in a different direction that applies to what you all are trying to learn or what would be useful to know. So I have been brewing kombucha since about 2010 when I lived in Hawaii, and I was kind of like living on this organic farm and was taking care of someone's property while they went away, and I was put in charge of taking care of their SCOBY. And I was like, okay. So for those of you that haven't seen kombucha being made before, this is the size of kombucha that I started out making. And the things floating in there are the SCOBYs. Those are the cultures that actually do the chemical processing of turning the tea into a fermented drink. And SCOBY stands for symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. So that would be like similar to a culture that's in yogurt, or similar to the yeast that you would use to ferment beer or wine, or to make sourdough bread, or the vinegar that's used in a lot of traditional foods like kimchi or sauerkraut, or you name it. I mean, most, if you look back at one of the favorite philosophies of food, or diets, so to speak, was Sally Fallon. She's a nutritionist who goes by the studies of Dr. help me out. Yeah, Weston A. Price, who studied. I'm getting really off track, but whatever.
No.
He studied different tribes or cultures all around the world. He studied their dental structure and their longevity and their sexual reproductive success, and all of these different variables, and then made deductions of their diet that were based on all of these cultures that were really successful at living. What did they eat? And most of it was raw milk and cultured foods and fermented foods. So anyway, real food.
Nourishing traditions.
Thank you. Nourishing traditions is the cookbook. So anyway, kombucha's in that cookbook somewhere. Symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. This is so I basically brew tea, either green or black tea. It should be a caffeinated tea, because the caffeine, the nitrogen, I think, in the tea, and the sugar is what the culture feeds on and it processes the sugar into beneficial acids that are probiotics. So there are different variations of the kombucha culture. One I think your wife brews or has brewed is called Jun, J-U-N, and that you can do with honey and a non-caffeinated tea, which is very important to some people. So there are slight variations of the kombucha drink. So anyway, I brewed it at home. My first batch I probably couldn't pay anyone to drink. It was super sour. I was trying to get my dad to drink it. He was just I don't get why you're trying to make me drink this thing. It's awful. Hey Sandy.
It'll be good for you.
It's good for you, Dad, I promise. So anyway, something about it really intrigued me. I think it was partially the challenge I enjoyed, partially just because it's such a strange thing. But even though it sucked, I kept brewing it, and I just kept drinking it, and eventually started doing different flavors and doing a secondary fermentation, which I can tell you about. And eventually I was bottling it and giving it to my friends, and they really liked it. And then their friends were asking for it. So then I was kind of selling out of my house and bicycle deliveries and things like that, and it just kind of happened very organically. You know, it wasn't like I was studying in college or like this like aspiring like kombucha woman when I was younger. It just kind of like fell into my hands, and I knew the trend of healthy foods and like that people were paying, you know, $4 a bottle for this drink, and that you know, most cities I would go to, they would have 1 or 2 regional kombuchas in addition to like kind of like the giant behemoth GTs that we all probably know of. But you know, the trend toward local products, the trend toward healthy foods, the trend toward traditional foods is definitely on the rise, and I don't foresee that like changing anytime soon. So I kind of just, well, when I first considered officially starting a business other than just selling to friends, I was really kind of like had this anarchist perspective of like the regulations I was going to have to go through in order to like be able to officially sell the product, and like the red tape, so to speak. I was just like, why are they going to regulate the product, and they're going to make me pay all this money, and I'm going to have to like change all these things, and I just thought that it would be this huge impediment toward the business. But then I was visiting a friend in Oakland, and something just clicked, and I was just like, I have to do this. And within 3 months, I was already incorporated and like on the go. So it was just something that I just knew that it was going to be a good thing. So I had so many phone calls, and it was just like, if you're going to start a business where you need to work with, I personally don't have to work with the county, and hearing other people's stories, I'm like thankful for that, but at the same time, I have worked with the county and getting my licensing for the farmer's market, and I've had nothing but great experiences. But I'm licensed through the state of Ohio, and I have asked them so many questions, and I've spoken to people with the State Department, I've spoken to people with the Federal Bureau of Alcohol and Firearms, which are in the same division. And I mean, that's really their job, is to license people and help people. So I would just suggest calling them and talking to them. I'm at a point where I'm trying to be able to reuse my bottles. They're like these, you can kind of see some of the plants in them. They're like 16-ounce glass bottles. And I get a lot of customers that say like, hey, I've been saving my bottles. I don't feel like I should get rid of them. They seem like they should be used again. You know, can you take them back? And I really do wish I could recycle and reuse the bottles, but I don't have the proper sanitization equipment, and also with the labeling, it makes it a little challenging. But you know, I spent 20 minutes talking to someone with the state of Ohio about sanitizing bottles, and I felt like I was taking up so much of his time, and I was just like, thank you so much. And he's like, no, thank you, I'm so glad you called. And it's just they really do want to, I mean, some people don't care, you know, that's just their job, they go there and come back. But I have found that if I can get a list of things that I need to check off, that makes it really easy for me. And I've just asked them so many questions and so many emails, and it's really, I've been very thankful that it's been a fairly easy process, and I'm able to work with them and answer questions and know what to anticipate. So moving into this space, my first year starting, I was in a church in the Old West End. A lot of churches in Toledo are really good assets. They have a lot to offer, and it's a lot of times within their mission to serve the community, you know, no surprise there. And Holy Toledo comes from having so many churches in the city, and they have these giant kitchens. The church I was in used to serve like 1,500 meals each Sunday to the community. So I mean, they would have like just giant oven range and stove and heating tower, I mean, just all this stuff. So, but now, you know, a lot of churches are closing their doors, and so they're kind of looking for someone to throw them a couple $100 a month and to share the space and just to bring the church back a little life. So I found that to be invaluable to launch in the first year. And then we were lucky enough to move in here. This is the Davis building. This first floor has, I think, about 8 women-owned businesses. It's at full occupancy. It's really, really awesome. And the second and third floors are mixed with businesses and residences, also probably at full occupancy. So I'm really excited for the downtown Toledo building. This place serves as both a retail storefront and a production facility. Still working on developing the retail little by little. But it was pretty much ready to go except for the fermentation room. When you brew kombucha, I don't know if any of you have already brewed it at home or anything, but it's very vinegary smelling. And also should be in a temperature controlled and mostly temperature controlled environment. So we kind of keep that closed off. They have their little room.